on The Boys. I'm not going to talk about that one this time. I didn't prepare that. I just remembered that right now. But with Walker coming up, I'm really excited for this reboot. I can't wait to see what they do here, and I hope that it comes out sooner rather than later, and that it doesn't get delayed or anything. I hope production continues on time, and I'd love to see where they go with this as well, and who else gets to be part of the show. So, woo, dude, I need some coffee, dude. What's going on? I'm feeling kind of like I need some caffeine or something, dude. And finally, we are at the main topic of the night. I am really excited to talk about this one, and I know that you guys are too. If you guys have seen The Mandalorian, you already know Gina Carano is a beast. She's epic, she's awesome, she's elegant, she's lovely, and I think pretty much everybody unanimously enjoys her in that role specifically. So a lot of people were like doubting her acting ability. Some people had like concerns online. Oh, she's not a qualified actress. I remember even John Campea was kind of poo-pooing the idea, because he's like, you shouldn't put her in a role that was like that was prominent, that has like lines, or she's recurring, no, like background actress or stunt woman or something. A lot of people were kind of looking down on her in that way because of her lack of experience, and from not coming from a world of acting, but coming from a fighting world, because she was a fighter. She was a mixed martial artist, and a very freaking good one too. She's a beast. But she's also a sweetheart. So like if you see her in interviews, you hear her talking, and she's just so kind and warm and bubbly and just like honest, and just telling you like exactly what she thinks, but like in a kind way, kind manner. She's not mean to anybody, but she loves to kick some butt, and that's Legiticus chapter 6. That's the best thing that you could possibly have, because she's confident. She understands her ability. She understands where she is. She's secure in her capability in physical combat. So she's not worried when people come at her and start talking trash. She knows she could handle herself. She doesn't feel threatened physically. So it doesn't escalate her emotionally when she gets into these confrontations. But you do, when you put up with a ton of BS, sometimes it can get under your skin. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. This headline, read it and then understand that it's not true. The Mandalorian fans want Gina Carano fired for mocking trans people. Bull. So not true. And I encourage you guys, if you ever see a headline that in any way disparages any person, I don't care who it is, I don't care if you don't like that person, read it, because you have to read past the headlines. You have to understand the situation from their perspective, from the opposite perspective, from the media perspective. You have to understand where everybody's coming from, what their motivations are, so that you can find the truth between all the different angles, okay? So let's take a look here. The Mandalorian fans want Gina Carano fired for mocking trans people. This is the part that I would highly doubt that it was actual Mandalorian fans. This, I don't even think they go out of their way to even prove, but we'll read this article together, okay? They want Gina Carano fired for mocking trans people. This as well, not true. So let's go. Don't take my word for it. We're going to read this one in detail, all right? I'm going to go all the way down the line with you guys. The Mandalorian star Gina Carano has been accused of mocking trans people. Accused is not the same thing as guilty. Let's go on. After putting the words boop, bop, beep in her Twitter bio in lieu of pronouns. Oh no, it's the compelled speech of the left. I'm going to get real with you guys on this one. I'm not going to hold back. You're going to hear my exact thoughts. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about this as we go, all right? So I'll go back over some of this if we have to. I'll try to read this as cleanly as I can, but I might have to speak up as we go. The actress who portrays Cara Dune in the Disney Plus Star Wars series was asked by fans whether she would add pronouns to her bio to show solidarity with the trans community. Solidarity with the trans community, which means you think and believe the same things that they do, or you unify yourself, you identify with that group, you put yourself in support by way of action and speech in alignment with what they want as a community. And by the way, they're not a community. It's people with similarity or similar action, similar lifestyle, similar thoughts. Do they live in the same community? I get sick of the abuse of the English language where they're like the black, like for instance, if you say like the black community, or if you say the Native American community, like my family, you say like the white community, like also my family, then it's like you're suggesting that white people are a community. It's so flipping dumb. It's so stupid. Like white people all think the same. It's not even close to true. And it's like they don't take into account geography. They don't take into account how old you are. They don't take into account if you grew up wealthy, middle class, poor. They don't take into account whether you're, on the right or on the left. They don't take in nothing. They just assume because you're white, you're a community. No, what they're saying is they're subgrouping you by how you look. That's racist. Or if they say the trans community, they're actually profiling you by your defined sexuality or whatever. So like this is, I think whoever's, claiming you need solidarity with trans is actually the one that's being quite bigoted here, because they're assuming that other trans want Gina to do something with her Twitter account or her speech or her actions on behalf of the community. And you actually don't know what the trans community wants, because you're not really a community. You're just saying that you want solidarity with this group and you want her to do it in her bio. You're compelling speech because you're a fascist. And I don't throw that word around lightly. I'm going to talk with you guys about that in a second. The act of adding pronouns has been common among trans and non-binary people in order to avoid being misgendered. While many they say cisgender as a way to marginalize normal people. I might get taken down for saying that, but it says, but let's go on. They're basically just trying to say like, you're not normal. You're a weird person too. And it's like, okay, whatever you say. The act of adding pronouns has been common among trans and non-binary people in order to avoid being misgendered. And for those who don't know, that's when someone believes that their gender is somehow not exactly the same thing as their sex, because they actually want to define their sexuality as a gender, even though they say that sexuality and gender are not the same. So then they classify their gender as how they orient themselves in their desire to perform coitus with whomever or whatever or what the heck. So that it's like it's their own perspective on themselves, but they expect you to know it and to use that, even if you've never met them, you know nothing about them. So it's kind of a tool for social engineering, really. They're trying to get you to submit to compelled speech, and it sucks. And so they say, while many cisgender, and I don't have any hate for anybody, but I hate when people tell you or me what we have to say or what we have to do or what we have to think or agree with, regardless of science, data, facts, evidence, logic, biology, any of that. None of it matters. It's just what they think in their heads. They want you to not only agree with, not only tolerate, but to actively change your world and your speech and your behavior and your thoughts and everything to align with what they want, because they're fascists. And then they're going to cancel you and they want you to quit. They want your job done. They want you to lose everything in your life. They want your reputation slandered and libeled. And that's what they're doing to Gina. But Gina is a strong female. And I'm not saying this disparagingly. She's a strong female. She's a woman. She's a real woman. She's a person that knows who the heck she is, what the heck she believes in. And she says, listen, gracefully, she's just like, I'm sorry. Like, not that she's apologizing, but she's just saying, look, you do you, I'm doing me. Sorry that you're offended. You know, that's kind of the thing. So, and watch how this plays out. I'm going to read this again because I keep interrupting myself. The act of adding pronouns has been common among trans and non-binary people in order to avoid being misgendered, while many cisgendered people have also included them to show support for the community. So basically, a lot of people that are scared of the mob give in and just do what they're told to do. And that's what happens with most people, because most people are cowards. But you have this. One user tweeted to Carano that her co-star Pedro Pascal had included them, while also accusing her of liking tweets that mock the act of adding pronouns. Let's read that again. One user tweeted to Carano that her co-star Pedro Pascal had included them. So basically they're like, Pedro did it, why aren't you doing it? And then also they accused Gina of liking tweets that mock the act of adding pronouns. Well, is it stupid? Then yes, it is stupid. It's like if she thinks it, even if it's not stupid, like even if it's not universally, like objectively stupid, if she thinks it's stupid, what gives you the right to tell her that it's not stupid? What gives you the right to demand that she agree with you that it's not stupid? These people are insane. And they have no compassion. They have no understanding. They don't even care about Gina Carano. They don't care at all. In fact, this is what they do. This kind of person is a fascist. They get their whole respect in life is not true respect, but it's fear. They impose fear on you. They suggest that they're going to cancel you. I'm going to get you in trouble if you don't do exactly what I say. These are the people, these are the little kids in Walmart that would go find another kid and kick them in like the grocery aisle, or when you're at in the checkout stand. They're over here, they're taking stuff off the shelves and they're just dropping it on the floor. And then when you say something, or like if someone says anything and that kid just like throws a tantrum, this is that person grown up. This is what happens to the kid at Disneyland that's on a leash, right? Like when you're in Walmart and you see that kid on a leash, this is that kid grown up, because instead of the parent getting their kid in line being like, hey, I told you to stay by my side, what are you doing? They were like, oh, we just can't stop him. We don't know what to do. So we're just going to they put him on a leash and they let him run loose. And he's like grabbing stuff. They're like, no, it's okay. And they just like gently tug on the rope because they're too cowardly to tell the kid, knock it off. You can't do that. And you can't act like an animal and mistreat everybody and make a mess and that sort of stuff. No, but these people come onto Twitter and they want to make a mess like this. This whole story actually gets me really excited. I know I don't sound like giddy, but this really does make me really excited because it's a story of victory, actually. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And so she says, yes, Pedro and I spoke, and he helped me understand why people were putting them in their bios, the actress replied. I didn't know before, but I do now. So she acknowledges that when she was saying she's not going to do it, and when she was liking stuff about people adding their gender it's like, if you look like a beautiful woman, like, and you are, you really look like that, people aren't guessing. There's an actual biological design for women that is different than the biological makeup of a dude. The shaping is different. The jaws are different. Head shapes are different. Foreheads are different. Shoulders are different. Necks are different. The height ratio to head height ratio to full body height ratio is different on a man than it is to a woman. Hands are different. There's so many biological indicators that are different than just like long hair, short hair, wearing makeup. It's not the same. There's differences. So it is ridiculous to be like, why does everyone need to have a gender listed in their bio? That's the dumbest thing ever. Like, my name is Gina. It's like most people with a mostly female name are typically female. Like, why do you have to, and so, but it's because people like to pretend that there's differences and they, they go off on the gender spectrum and stuff like that. It's utter chaos that is not grounded in biology whatsoever. And she knows this. And so then she goes like this. I'll read you the whole thing again, but from her actual tweet. She says, yes, Pedro and I spoke, and he helped me understand why people were putting them in their bios. So she talked to Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian. She's like, look, why do you even put that in there? And he's like, well, because, there's an angry Twitter mob and they come after you. They want to cancel you. They'll take your job if you don't do it. So if they tell you to do it, you should probably just do it. And she's like, why? And he's like, well, I mean, because Hollywood is incredibly, they basically, the mob controls Hollywood and it's all about money. So if you cost the company money, the company's going to fire you because the company cares more about the mob than you. So even though we're an employee and we're making them money, we're really also going to be responsible for the loss of that money if those, angry people online continue to cost us revenue. So we just do what we're told by the mob. We don't ever stand up for ourselves. And so she's like, I get it, but that's not me. And so then she goes like this. I didn't know before, but I do now. I will not be putting them in my bio, but good for all of you who choose to. So she's basically saying like, listen, good for you. You guys do you. I'm going to do me. I don't do that. I'm not going to be doing that. I don't need that. And then she also says, I stand against bullying, especially the most vulnerable, and freedom to choose. 100. So she basically says this. I'm not trying to bully anybody. I want nothing to do with bullying. I want to stand up for people that are suffering, that are having a tough time, vulnerable people. And I want people to also have the right to choose. I stand for people's freedom of speech. So if you want to say something about your gender, you do that. You absolutely have the right to do that. You should do it. Say whatever you want to say. I'm going to also say what I want to say. And I'm not going to say what people want me to say if I don't want to say it. So I'm not going to say it. That's basically what she said. And then this is what happened. However, later she tweeted to another fan that she had decided to put three very controversial, this is her sarcasm. She says 3 very controversial words in my bio. Beep, bop, boop. Adding, I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to find less abusive representation. Because the people, and she says this not ironically at all. The first part is sarcastic. The second part is literal. So this guy here, Joe Pagliarulo, that's his name, from Joe Talk Show. Gina Carano, not being coy, what is the hashtag woke world mad at you about? I'm looking at your tweets. Are they mad you called women in the UFC fight ladies? Fill a brother in. He's basically saying, please explain what's going on. I have no idea why people are mad at you. Gina says, they're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show support for the trans lives. After months of harassing me in every way. By the way, she's the one being bullied right now. This is the idiocy of these psychos that are out there on Twitter. Twitter is a horrible place, people. Like in The Lion King, when Mufasa's showing Simba, he's like, look out there, Simba. Everything the light touches is our kingdom. What about that shadowy place over there? That's Twitter. Never go there, Simba. Like that's pretty much what happens. So it's Twitter. Twitter is the dark land with the hyenas, and all these people online on Twitter are heckling hyenas, and they're psychos. Don't go there. I'm on Twitter. I have a Twitter. I hate being on Twitter. It's a nightmare. People are there literally just to troll all day long, and it's the worst people. It's the worst. But celebrities like Gina Carano and I'm not a celebrity, but I have a show, right? And if you want to promote, you have to promote everywhere you have the ability to promote in order to get more eyes on your content. So, and this one, I'm sure this one's going to go well for me, but who cares? It's the truth. So Gina Carano says, they're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show support for trans lives. After months of harassing me in every way, I decided to put 3 very controversial words in my bio. Beep, bop, boop. I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to find less abusive representation. She put that there because day and night and day, all day long, these idiots constantly troll people so that they can just convince you that you're a bad person if you don't do exactly what they say right here, right now. I want it. Me, mine, mine, mine. Give it to me, give it to me. And it's that kid in the grocery store that's just like, Mommy, I want it. Give it to me, Mom. And they throw a tantrum and the mom's like, oh, I guess I better get it for him. Otherwise, he's just going to keep crying. That's the kid all grown up. These idiots are getting everything that they want. And that this is what it promotes is when they get on Twitter. I'm going to just go right here. I'm going to go here so you can see it. Look at this. They're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show support for trans lives after months of harassing me in every way. I decided to put 3 very controversial words in my bio. Beep, bop, boop. I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to be less abusive. They need to find less abusive representation, which they do. This is a childish reaction, and it hurts people too. Your responses to all this is really disappointing. I've read the replies you've been getting, and most are from young people who are genuinely hurt. I hope your heart can truly see them. This sounds so stupid. This is a person who thinks purely on emotion and has no idea what she's actually advocating right now. She is advocating the destruction of the freedom of speech altogether. She thinks she's supporting people that are hurt and broken. She's not. She's supporting people that were coddled and supported far too much and not disciplined nearly enough. These people are neglected. They're neglected kids that grew up and now they have a Twitter. And these people are abusing other people because they can do whatever they want and they never got a spanking for it. That's what they're seeing. That's what we're seeing right now. And frankly, I would be willing to bet that this Barbara Kelly didn't get enough spankings either. So not to just, apparently she's got kids too, but this is the kind of mentality that we're dealing with here. So like this person's like, Gina, you should be so ashamed of yourself. I hope that your heart is able to, I hope your Grinch heart grows 3 sizes this day. I hope that you can come down from Mount Crumpet and sing Holding Hands with all the little Who's down in Whoville because you're a Grinch right now, but you can be better. Be better. That's what she's saying to her. It's so patronizing. It's really annoying to see this kind of reaction. And I'm not saying that trans people or people in general, like this person, Barbara Kelly, can't do that in their own profile. But Gina's right. She's 100% right. She's been harassed every single day on Twitter. But guess what? She's not out here crying about it. She's out here saying, you guys need to get better representation. Look, I'm not against you. You do you. She's even said she's for free speech. Do what you want. Say what you want. Put it in your bio. I'm not doing it. That's all she said. She said, don't tell me what to do. And then these people come out in droves. And she's like, look at this person. Can you see how some would read that as ... mocking? It's so... And these people think that they're like trying to convince Gina of like, oh, you can be better. You can be good. There's a better way. It's like, no, you guys are out here trying to shove her around. You're the bullies. You guys are bullies. That's how bullies operate. I bet you guys bullied countless girls in your high schools just like this, thinking that you're the empathetic one, thinking that you're like, oh, but I understand my situation. If I'm doing it, then I must be right. No. If you agree with it, you agree with it. If she doesn't agree with it, why does she have to agree with it? That's the thing, is like, you're coming to her page, right? These are replies. Gina didn't come to you. Gina didn't go to a trans page and be like, listen, I'm not putting my thing there. She didn't go to someone else's page and say that. She did it on her own page. You came to her. And we're going to talk about what the definition of this is. So, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So it says, another fan suggested that her reactions could be construed as mocking. Carano replied, I don't think trans people would like all of you trying to force a woman to put something in her bio through harassment and name calling every day for months, such as racist, transphobe, B-word, weirdo, I hope you die, and I hope you lose your career. You're fat and you're ugly. That's another thing, is that they talk about like, these trans people are so oppressed, and I'm not saying they're not, but these idiots like this person. Yeah, this is the person I was just looking at. So like this person goes, can you see how someone read that as mocking? So she's like out here like, are you mocking trans people? aren't you doing that? Isn't that what you just did? I'm sure you didn't maybe like mean to, but you totally did. Can you see how that is what I'm saying it is? And then you see this, right? And then you see what they're actually saying to her. They're calling her a racist transphobe just simply for not participating. She even said she supports you doing it. She just said, I don't want to do it myself. And they call her racist. How is that racist? And then transphobe. And then, other words, B word, right? It's like, who's the bully now? Who's the bully? She's the one that was just like, leave me alone, please. Like, I'm just trying to work and live and be the best that I can be in Star Wars, for goodness sakes. She's an actual strong woman. She takes all this garbage all day long. She's not hitting back at these people. She's just letting them know, look, you guys are the ones bullying me. I'm out here just trying to live my life, do me. I'm doing me. You do you, I'll do me. And they say, but can you see? You're mocking trans. And then the people behind the scenes who are sending her DMs all day, and the people who are adding her all day, they're calling her all these other things. I hope you lose your career. Why? Because she wouldn't agree with you? That's fascism. And I'm going to show you exactly why. You know what? I'm not even going to wait. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to show you guys real quick. Let's look up Merriam-Webster Dictionary, because if you go Google, they can change that definition whenever they want. But do Merriam-Webster Dictionary, fascism. The definition of fascism, often capitalized, it says a political philosophy or movement or regime such as that of the fascisti that exalts nation and often race above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader. So that's the first part. But check this out. It also says severe economic and social regimentation and forcible suppression of opposition. So even though it says often race or often the individual, that stands for centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, that's an option. That is one of the things. But it's also severe economic and social regimentation and forcible suppression of the opposition. So what we're seeing here is these clowns, these idiots, and I'm not talking about the trans people, I'm talking about these crazy people that are coming out pretending that she's against the trans. These people probably aren't even trans. Like, they're probably just like, because like you saw that one chick I showed you was like she, her just means it's a woman. So like, why is she so like beaten over the head with this? Because she already gave into the mob and now they own her. And now she has to be this. All of her friends around her are probably like looking at her Twitter like, yes, she's standing for the oppressed. She's standing for these. What if the oppressed doesn't want her to do that? What if the oppressed never asked her to harass this woman over her free speech? What if the trans are actually also pro freedom of speech so that they can say things that are not biologically sound at all? They can say, I'm a tree today. I'm an attack helicopter. You can identify as Batman if you want. You can do whatever you want because it doesn't have to necessarily be true, but it's your right to say. I would think the trans community is very pro free speech, but not to these people. These are the psychos that are here like, watch this. It's so dumb. This person's late to the show. And this person, DC Wear a Mask, says, if you felt that strongly about not putting your pronouns in your bio, you could have ... wait for it ... not put them in your bio. This is mocking and hurtful. See, they're seeing the response. They're not seeing the initial. And that's how most of these clowns actually show up. They don't go back and look for any context at all. They don't look for the initial battle. They're not reading any articles. They see this maybe. They don't think to go back and show what's going on. All they saw was either the beep bop boop. 3 months after constant harassment for this exact reason, what this person didn't know, or maybe they did and they're ignorant and they just wanted to attack her. She did choose to not put them in her bio, and she got mercilessly attacked for it for months. That's why she did this. So it's your fault. It's all of your fault. It's Barbara Kelly. It's Cass. It's DC Wear a Mask. It's all of these people. All of these whiny brats, I'm going to call them. They're fascists because they are trying to they're trying to implement suppression of their opposition. To them, the opposition is people who will not put that in their bio. They say, I get to have a say over what you do with your Twitter. And if you don't do it, I'm going to get you in trouble. I'm going to make you look really bad, and I'm going to hurt your career, and I'm going to get you fired, which is what this other idiot said. Where'd they go? Where's the one? Oh, yeah, Gina said, let me see if I can find that. Where's the article? This is it. I don't think this one. I hope you lose your career. These are the things that they're saying to her constantly. And so here she says, she later claimed that she was not mocking trans people, tweeting beep, bop, boop, has zero to do with mocking trans people and to do with exposing the bullying mentality of the mob that has taken over the voices of many genuine causes. Yes, this is true. This is observably true, 100%. And guess who makes that observable? Cass. This person, the other person, everybody that goes and ats her for this exact thing and then just puts her down. That's exactly what this is. It's the mob. So then you go here, right? It says to do exposing, because they're coming to her page. They're not going, they're coming to her with these attacks. They didn't have to say anything. If they really believed that she had the right to just not do something, what about their right to just butt out of it and keep to themselves? But that's not what Twitter's for. Twitter's for attacking people, according to the left, according to these people that believe that freedom of speech is a hindrance to the protection and promotion of certain ideologies and groups that fall in line with that. It's the critical race theory. It's literal fascism. I mean, I already showed you the definition. The secondary definition of fascism is a tendency toward or actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control. That's what these people want. They want to dictate what is going on in your life, what you say, what you wear, what you agree with, who you vote for. All of this. They want to tell you how to live your life. That's dictatorial control. These people are advocating that against Gina. And Gina is a real woman, and she does not bow to these idiots. So, let me go ahead. I'm going to keep going because I'm really enjoying this. She later claimed she later claimed that I did read this, didn't I? Bullying mentality, genuine. Oh, I got to here. I want people to know you can take hate with a smile. So boop you for misunderstanding. Hashtag all love, no hate. That's my girl right there. That's legit. Dude, my wife and I, when we saw The Mandalorian, we saw her like in those fight scenes, and just like every time she was on screen, she was perfect. She's one of the best characters. And frankly, I can't wait to see Mandalorian season 2 mostly for her. Like Mando is awesome. Baby Yoda is awesome. But the secondary characters they had, like Bill Burr's character, her character, Carl Weathers' character, they had IG-11, Queel, so many of these characters are so enjoyable, perfect in their role. Gina is perfect in her role as Cara Dune. And she's watching interviews of her is inspirational. Just the calm she has, the respect that she has for all of her co-stars. In the making of the Mandalorian documentary, she gave Carl Weathers a praise that was like I'd never seen before. So genuine. It was so like, she was lifting him up in a way that even he was just notably touched by. He was like, wow, Gina, like, wow, I don't know what to say, you know, and she's so kind. She's such a kind person. Anyone who thinks that this chick is hateful is really dumb. They haven't done the research. They haven't looked into her character. They haven't seen interviews of her. They haven't seen videos of her just talking with other co-workers, co-stars, seeing how she treats people, how she lifts them up. Yes, everyone's different behind closed doors, but guess what? Twitter is not closed doors. Twitter is a battleground of ideas, apparently, according to the left, And this is what you get. Like, you go out there, you just try to be a decent person and do your own thing, and they won't allow that. None of these losers allow that because they genuinely believe they have control over what you say, what you think, what you wear, where you go, where you shop. If they don't like that In-N-Out is a Christian organization and has donated to a certain group or person, they tell you don't eat there. And if you have posted a picture eating there, they will call you all the same things that they called Gina. They will do the same exact thing. They'll try to get you fired. They'll call you racist, sexist, xenophobe, homophobe, transphobe, microbe, whatever they can pull out of a hat to call you, to try to slander you and get people to stop talking to you, to socially ostracize you, to slander and libel you. They will do it. They will bear false witness against you every day if they can until you bow to the mob. But if you're strong, if you're courageous, if you operate in the truth, you will not bow. Do not bow to these people. They are psychos. And frankly, they're cowards because they're only doing this because they're not face to face with you. And frankly, if they were face to face with Gina and they actually tried to start something, Gina is a savage. She will tear you apart. And I don't think she'd ever want to do that. And I actually doubt that she would do that in the streets because she's got respect for people. She might just get you in a chokehold and calm you down, put you to sleep, which would be really great to see. Please, if that ever happens, I hope that someone gets it on video. But Gina's the bomb. And she's not a bully. That's all. That's the other thing is she has so much she could do here that she's not doing. She's legit. And then it says, however, many fans have criticized her arguments and actions, with some they keep calling these people fans. In what way do you see that these people are Star Wars fans? This one's a Star Wars fan, probably. This one. I don't see any evidence of the other people being Star Wars fans. If they've seen a Star Wars movie, then guess what that means? They're probably over the age of 3. That's probably what that means. Most people have seen Star Wars. It doesn't necessarily make you a fan. But this person seems to like them. There's some evidence here that they like Star Wars. So you got one. We'll continue down. But you see what's happening here, right? Like, so the article has to frame it like fans are mad at Star. No, idiots on Twitter are mad. And if they've seen Star Wars, good on them. I'm glad that you were able to get their money. But no, you don't just call them fans. This is one thing that I'm a little bit disappointed about the article writer. They've been quite fair. Sam Warner's been quite fair from NME. And I do enjoy, this is a great article. I'm really glad that he wrote this article, but continues to use the word fans. Fans have criticized her arguments and actions, with some calling, maybe. You say many fans, we'll see. I think most of the people that are criticizing her are actually not fans of Star Wars. I would be willing to, and I bet they're not fans of Gina Carano's. I almost guarantee you that they're not, because people that are fans of somebody or that actually have an affinity or an appreciation for a person don't attack them, and they're actually willing to hear their side of the argument. Most people, these aren't fans. So that's my one criticism. What's his name again? I forgot. Sam Warner. This is an excellent article, and I'm really proud of you, man. This is, or actually, Sam, is that a girl? Maybe I misgendered him. Sam, you're a legend. How about that? But I would say, I don't think you have a lot of proof to use the words many fans have criticized. Many people have criticized. That's better. Many people have criticized her arguments and actions, with some calling for her to be fired from The Mandalorian. Oh no, that tells me they didn't see The Mandalorian. What, you disagree with someone, like you could say this is a social political argument, not really political, but a social political, I guess. It technically is politics, because they're actually advocating for no free speech. That's what they're advocating. They want her canceled. So they don't want free speech. And that's the whole point of this, because she never actually mocked trans. You can argue that you might think that she mocked trans, but you don't have proof of that. In fact, she denies it. And it makes sense. Her arguments are legitimate. They're not, she's not making poorly written, like comebacks, or she's not jabbing at anybody. Beep Bop Boop is just like, frankly, that's a Star Wars reference. Plus she did it here and she's just citing this. So Beep Bop Boop has zero to do. She explains it right now. Beep Bop Boop has zero to do with mocking trans people. Love and 100% to do with it is 100% to do with exposing the bullying mentality of the mob, which by the way is everyone on this list except for the guy at the top, which is this guy, Joe Pagliarulo. I'm gonna check him out because I like that guy now. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. The bullying mentality of the mob that has taken over the voices of many genuine causes. See, even there, she's lending credence. She says, look, you have a genuine cause going on. I respect what you guys are doing. I respect that you're doing it. I think it's great that you want to stand up for people that have been bullied, that are mocked, that are going through what she's going through. But this is a bully mentality that you're implementing on me. And she's trying to show, like, without being like, I'm the victim here, oh, poor me. She's just saying, look, you're the one doing the bullying. And then she says, I want people to know you can take it with a smile, so boop you for misunderstanding all love, no hate. She's really well spoken. Really well spoken. And she makes sense. This is a common sense woman. And it says here, Matt Skywalker says, I was going to go completely off on this, but after thinking for a moment, all I'm going to say is I hope that someday you realize how contradictory it is to make a joke at an entire marginalized community's expense to try and prove that you're anti-bullying. This guy's a knucklehead. So, like, people are so brainwashed that they think, and by the way, this person probably showed up right here, right now for this one tweet. So I'll give Matt Skywalker the benefit of the doubt. Benefit of the doubt for Matt Skywalker is this, that he showed up this late into the conversation and did not see what was going on to her before. So again, I appreciate Sam for writing this article, exposing everything that was going on. Because frankly, like, context matters, guys. Don't just read the headline. Even if it's a tweet, if she's referencing a situation that's been ongoing, maybe you should look into it before you comment. Because this is really stupid. I was going to go off completely on this, but after a moment, all I'm going to say is this. I hope that someday you realize how contradictory it is to make a joke at an entire marginalized community's expense. She's the one being marginalized, you dope. She's the one that's being attacked. She didn't attack anybody. She's out here and she's just saying, look, I'm trying to point out to you guys how silly it is that you think that I need to do what you say with my Twitter account, so I'm going to do the opposite of that. I'm going to do beep bop boop, which is not a gender. It's not even trying to simulate a gender. I'm just going to put what I want, which is literally nothing. It's a nonsense. It's R2D2 language. Beep bop boop. It's RoboTalk. She's going to put that in there as a point to just be like, look, I control my Twitter. You don't. Please stop telling me what to do. That's basically what she's saying. And then this guy's like, anti-bullying. You're bullying people, making a joke about marginalized. It's not a joke about marginalized. It's a joke about the idiots that are suggesting that the marginalized want her to do this and that she has to do it if they want it. She's mocking you, Matt Skywalker. That's what she's doing. You and the rest of these mob mentality bullies and idiots. And that's what it is. But you're not smart enough to notice that. You're not smart enough to see what she's actually saying. So you continue to be dummies. And so then what's this one? What is this? E.T. the Voice for Jesus says, I'm sorry, but if people are telling you that it is offensive or hurtful, then why keep it up? I don't think people have to put pronouns if they do not want to, but do not mock people who do. You might not think it has a mocking tone, but it clearly does. Dude, you are an idiot. It's so dumb. He says, I don't think people have to put pronouns if they do not want to, but to mock people but do not mock people who do. No, the whole point is if you think that people don't have to put pronouns if they don't want to, that's First Amendment. You get to do that because that's free speech. But then you're like, but don't mock people who do. Are you free speech or are you not? People get to say what they want or they don't. What? This guy is an idiot. So he's trying to play the moral high ground like, if you want to not do something, I'm not going to make you do it. But when you do something, I'm going to make sure you don't. This guy's a dictator. That's what it is. It comes back to fascism. These idiots think that if they're offended by something, then they have the moral high ground to tell you what you can and can't do based on their offense. But the stupidity of this is that offense is personally assessed. It is something that offends your idea of what happened or what was said, not what actually was intended, not what actually was said. Offense can be taken by someone speaking to another person that has nothing to do with you, and that's exactly what we're seeing with these lunatics. So this guy, I don't even know who this is, but he says this. I'm sorry, but if people like, so he's like, look at this, trying to play the nice guy, but then he's like, if people are telling you that it hurts or that it's offensive, then why keep it up? Because she can, and also more than because she can, because she not only has the protected right to, but because it's not the right of the other person to not be offended. If you want to have any intellectual discussion at all, ever, any interaction whatsoever with other human beings in any capacity, a husband, a wife, a brother, a sister, a mother, a father, grandparent, anything, you will be offended by something, by everybody. Everybody will do something that's offensive. If someone puts their shoes in the wrong place and you're OCD, that's going to offend you. It's not their problem, though. It's yours. The problem is you for being offended. That's the problem. You're the problem, dude. This guy here, and I'm a Christian, right? So if he says like the right back for Jesus, I don't even know what this thing means. Even if he's a Christian, you're wrong, dude. Because it's not about Christian. You feel empathetic for a group. That's wonderful. That's fine. But you're not morally sound in that. Empathy without morality is just as destructive and evil as a lack of empathy. So if you have a lack of empathy and people are like, oh my gosh, he doesn't even care. Caring can also be just as destructive and devastating to culture, to society, to people, to feelings, as not caring. Because if you care about something that is not morally right and is not actually selfless or not actually for the other person or for not just the greater good, but for the individual good or just good in general, it can be just as harmful. Let me give you an example of this, right? This is a complex topic I wasn't planning to get into. Morality and empathy. Let me just say this. Morality comes from God. If you're an atheist, just go with me on this, right? If you don't know about God, if you don't understand the Bible, if you don't understand morality, morality comes from a higher standard that is greater than our own desires. It is something that, because we as people, we're sinful, and sin produces selfishness. All people are selfish. Every single one of us is inherently selfish. And we have to work to not be. You don't have to teach a kid to lie. When you have a baby, when you have a kid and they start growing, they start walking, they start to talk, you don't have to tell them to lie. If they think they're going to get in trouble for something, they're going to lie. You have to teach them to tell the truth. That has to be taught. And what happens is that people will take advantage of any situation for their own self-interest unless they're trained and taught not to do that. If they're trained and taught to be selfless. Morality is a standard that is higher than ourselves. So if we do what is right in our own eyes, right? Like let's say we don't have a common standard, right? We don't have the Bible to give us God's moral law, to give us his understanding of true right and wrong, good and evil, what is actually morally right, by a standard that is not set by man, that is not set by us, that is beneficial to certain groups or one group or the other, but it actually tells every single person to deny themselves of their own sin. Every single person is held to that same standard. The Christians are held to the same standard that non-believers are. Straight people are held to the same standard that gays are as well. We are all held to the same standard. But when you have no morality, you do what's right in your own eyes. Why is this bad? Why is that wrong? Well, don't we have empathy? Isn't empathy a human emotion that we kind of use as a barometer for like what is sort of good and what is sort of not? No, but we can pretend that we do. So if we have morality, right? The inherent understanding that the Holy Spirit puts on our heart of right and wrong, true morality, good versus evil, sin, understanding sin. If we don't have that, we don't consider sin. All we consider is what we are empathetic to, what we feel connected with, what we relate to. Here's the problem. If, let's say, there's a woman and she gets murdered. She gets murdered and she has a family. That family is going to feel empathetic towards her situation and each other because they have just lost a loved one. And they are going to want either revenge or justice for the murderer. They're going to want payment for that crime, that sin. They're going to want something in return. They're going to want to beat up that guy, kill that guy, take his life for life. That empathy is going to be for each other. But let's say now that I am a murderer, and in this story that I presented, there's the woman that died, the man who murdered her, and then the family. If I'm a murderer, I might empathize with the murderer because I might be thinking about the time that I murdered someone and be like, yep, they drove me to a rage that I couldn't control. Yep, maybe that woman deserved it. Maybe she was driving that guy. Maybe she had something he wanted, and maybe he just thought, I'm going to kill her and take her stuff. Or maybe maybe if I'm that murderer, maybe I empathize with the other murderer because I'm like, yeah, she was a psycho woman, and I just didn't. I thought the world would be better off without her. And then he killed her. Okay, one less psycho to deal with. Maybe a murderer's empathy is not inherently good. Maybe empathy is an emotion that is reactive to our situation and allows us to connect with people that think like us. And that's not always a good thing because we're not always good. Do you see how that works? There's the problem. So empathy is not inherently good. Empathy with morality is good because then you have a baseline standard for what good is, that murder is wrong. Because if you don't have morality, if you don't have a higher standard that is beyond our own selfish desires and what we want and what we see as good in our own eyes, who's to say that murder isn't wrong? It comes from God's law. God is the one that told us murder is wrong. So then we have that as a baseline standard. These people are, and this guy, he claims to be for Jesus. Apparently, I don't know if that's true, and I'm not judging his faith, but he's going off of empathy, which I'm sure he was socially conditioned to do in his school, by his friends, by other people that are in his life around him, or people he sees, celebrities, or maybe he's just been on Twitter too long. People operate with empathy without morality. We have the God-given right that is protected by the government if you're in the United States. Currently, it's starting to dwindle. I pray to God that we can preserve that. But our God-given right, according to the scripture, is free speech because it's intrinsically connected to honesty. It's intrinsically connected to honesty. If Gina Carano cannot speak honestly, then you are asking her to lie. Does that make sense? So then, if you have empathy for this other group, which by the way is not actually present in this conversation, not apparently, there doesn't appear to be any indication that they are actually here, but people that are pretending to be standing in the gap for these people without having consulted them, demand that Gina lie. She doesn't feel that way. She said that she doesn't want to participate in that. She has no desire to do that, but that you guys should do it because it's free speech, and if you want to do it, do it. But that's not good enough for them. They want her to lie. They're asking her to lie and to bow down, and she won't do it because she's strong. She knows who she is. She knows what she believes, and she doesn't have to do it. This is the fake Twitter mob that's trying to scare you and be like, we're going to take your job. Unfortunately, you find that some companies do bow down to these mobs. And that's disgusting. It's disgusting. But when there's morality, the person that's working for them, if they get screwed, they can say, I'm going somewhere else. And they can continue to move on and just say, look, I did what I did according to my convictions. And Gina's acting according to her convictions. Frankly, I mean, she's no comedian. It's not a hilarious joke, but it was funny. It was kind of cute. Like beep bop boop, has zero to do with mocking trans people. She's right. It doesn't mock trans people. She's mocking you, Matt Skywalker. She's mocking you, Jaden. She's mocking you. Where's the other person? Cass. All these knuckleheads are out here Twitter mobbing her, and then this guy joins in because he thinks he's being moral, but he's not. He's actually being empathetically destructive. And that's true. That's the truth. This is morality without empathy. That's what you're seeing. That's not what Jesus would want. I'm sorry. I'm a Christian, dude. Just like you, I'm sure. I don't know if this is... I actually have no idea what this is supposed to say. THROITBCK for Jesus. It says for Jesus, so I assume you're a Christian. God bless you, man. God bless you. But you're wrong here. Maya Rose. I don't know. This one, maybe? CIS? Cis... Oh, cis people. So beep bop boop. It's again the same reply. Cis people do not get to determine what is and isn't harmful to trans people. And many trans people have said any sort of pronoun mocking jokes from cis people, no matter the intent, causes harm. Prove that. First of all, prove that. And second of all, it doesn't matter if it actually happened because they're wrong. They need to toughen up. Are they so weak that they can't take a joke? That's a very fragile human being. You're not going to last in this life. You have to toughen up. Maya, you're not protecting anyone. Toughen up. You need to toughen up, and they need to toughen up. They're not made of glass. They're people. Toughen up. Or get off Twitter. If you can't take the heat, get off of social media. That's the bottom line. And for some reason, these people who are constantly turning up the heat on social media cry that the heat is turned up. They're the kid that would turn on the stove, touch it, and then cry because they burn themselves. It's the same concept. You did it to yourself. You're the one that's causing all the pain. You're the Twitter mob. And then this person, Holly. Replace Gina Carano with the trans woman on The Mandalorian. No, that sounds stupid. Sorry. Plus, what do you mean by trans woman? Do you mean like Fallon Fox, the serial woman abuser who was on... I can't remember if that was like Strike Force. What was that one? It wasn't technically the UFC, but it was a mixed martial arts competition like UFC. And it was a man that had lived their entire life up until, I think it was like 30 or 31 or something. Had done some MMA, got his butt kicked several times, had impregnated a woman, had a child normally, and then decides... You know what? I really enjoy beating up women, so I'm going to call myself a woman and compete in women's sports and just kick the crap out of women and send them to the hospitals with cracked skulls. So he did exactly that multiple times. And then the UFC and all these other leagues had to put their heads together and be like, what in the world is happening here? This is immoral. We cannot tolerate this. You're sending women to the hospital because obvious biological superiority of male to female as far as it comes to combat sports, bone density, muscle density, fast twitch muscle fiber usage. There is no comparison. Male to female, pound for pound or whatever you want to say. Like it's not in any way comparable. The women were getting destroyed. Absolutely. And when I say destroyed, I mean actually sent to the hospital. Risk of death. That's what I'm talking about. This person is a sick person. This person, Holly, has no freaking idea what they're talking about. This person's an absolute idiot or they're evil. And I hope that you're an idiot. I don't want to assume that you're an evil. I hope that you're an idiot because you probably don't know about Fallon Fox. You don't know what you're talking about. Joe Martin here. Gina Carano is ignorant AF, and I hope she gets fired from Mando. You can say that. It's not correct. She's not ignorant at all. Not from what I've seen. But this is actually, I think, one of the fairest ones. Gina Carano is ignorant AF, and I hope she gets fired. You can hope whatever you want. Replace Gina Carano with the trans woman on The Mandalorian. It's really dumb. It's like, why does it have to be a trans woman? Why not just the best actress for the job? Because you have an agenda that you're trying to impose on someone because you can't tolerate free speech because you are a snowflake. That's exactly what it is. The second the heat gets turned up, you melt. That's what happened. And that's exactly what it is. He's like, it's getting harder and harder to be stoked about Mando season 2. No, it's not. freaking excited. Love it. And yeah, look, and Gina Carano is trash. Trash saga continues. I seriously hope Disney fires her from The Mandalorian and replaces her with a new trans character. To add, I imagine she'll live throughout season 2, so they should just kill Cara Dune off between season 2 and season 3 to avoid her coming. I mean, that's, you know, if that's what you want, you can say that. I'm really looking forward to Gina Carano. If they cut her off the project, I'm not gonna watch. I'm taking a hard stand on this because she's been kind, she's been fair. She put this up because the Twitter mob came after her, not because of trans people. That's not what it was. And I think that people who are going hard against Gina really have no idea what they're talking about. I think they're ideologues that are pushing for the fall of free speech, and they don't even know it. Maybe they do. Maybe some of them do. Maybe they're outright Marxists. Maybe they've fallen for the lies and the traps of their university and college professors who exclusively push Marxism and critical race theory on the students all day long. That's probably what's happening, more or less, I would imagine. But no, Gina Carano is the bomb. She's my favorite part of Mando season 1. I loved her episodes. I loved the episode that Bryce Dallas Howard did where they introduced her character. It might be one of my favorites, that one in the Bill Burr episode. But I really enjoy her. I can't wait to see her and Greef Karga, which is played by Carl Weathers, in the next season. And again, guys, just as a fair warning, don't be a fascist. Look it up, learn the definitions, understand what exactly we're dealing with. We're dealing with ideologues who are pushing for strong autocratic or dictatorial control over people. They want to remove your rights. They really do. They really do want to remove your rights to free speech, and they want to mob you and scare you with fear tactics, canceling culture, trying to get you fired for just speaking the truth. And she was not being unreasonable. She's not being unreasonable. She gets to do with her social media what she wants. You don't own her. So back the heck off. And frankly, you don't own me either. You don't own anybody. You don't own nothing. These people are losers. They probably have... Look, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to get petty for a second. Yeah, she's got nothing going on. Look at that. That's what she does. This person is an actual... They're like a professional social justice warrior. Truly nothing going on. And they just want to advocate for one exact thing. That's why they attacked her. This person is not a true Star Wars... I don't think this person is a true Star Wars fan. I think the people that are coming out here, the only person that I think was actually a true Star Wars fan, like true from what we can see, based on the limited amount of evidence we have from their profile and a quick Google, just skimming through this, was this guy. That guy right there, Matt Skywalker. And I think he's still an idiot. So that's my take. And if you're Matt Skywalker and you're looking, I'm not going to... I'm not setting out here to make you upset. I'm trying to give your head a shake. I'm trying to tell you that you're actually doing... You're the one doing the harm. You're the reason she's saying this. It's not the... What did it say at the top? The trans and bi and other groups that are sexually identifying themselves. It's not them. It's you. It's you. You're the mob. Not them. You. You're the mob. That's exactly what this is. And so that's kind of what's going on there. So I'm extremely proud of Gina Carano for taking a stand, for not bowing down, for not apologizing, for not doing... She's clearly just saying, you guys do you. I fully support you guys doing you. I'm going to do me. And I agree with that. Let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments. I went real long on this rant, so forgive me for that. But this topic, this is one I can go on for days. And I have so much more respect for her. I have so much more enthusiasm for the next season. I'm just stoked. I can't wait to see what they do and where they go with these stories. And I'm really grateful, honestly, that they're doing this show the way that they have, where they took a risk with Gina Carano, bringing her on. Where she had a very limited career, but Jon Favreau saw her strengths and allows her to play to those with her character. And I'm so thrilled. I love the character. I can't wait to see how they use her. Oh, and one more point about this, just to piss off the people that are like, you should fire her. She's in 11 episodes now, which means she's going. She was in episode 4, and she was in episodes 7 and 8 of the first season, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 3 episodes, maybe 4. She might have been in 4 if my memory's failing me. I think maybe 3 or 4 episodes of the first season. But with her being in 11 episodes now, that's going to be, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's like 7 or 8 episodes that she'll be in. So she's probably going to be in almost the entire season of this coming season. So I'm really pumped, and I'm glad that she is. It's gonna be awesome. She's in more episodes than Giancarlo Esposito, who's the main villain. Sasha Banks is in 8 episodes, and she was not in any of the first season, which means she's also going to be a main character throughout almost the entire episode count for the new show. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. Let me know what you guys think about your excitement and enthusiasm. Did you see the new trailer? I'm not going to show it right here, right now, but you guys tell me what you think, and are you pumped? And let me hit those comments real quick just to see what we've got going on. So I'm going to see if I can shift over the chat. Okay, so let's go here just so we can